I'm going carnivore for a couple of weeks. Have I lost my darn mind? Okay, first I did a 3-day bone broth fast. Then I did 2 weeks of vegan keto. Now I'm talking about going polar opposite and doing a couple of weeks of carnivore where I only eat meat. What the heck am I doing? Okay, look, I'm not being some zealot with each individual protocol. I'm doing my own self-experimentation because that's the only way that I can bring good content. Okay, if I understand how something works, not only do I firsthand learn how it works, but I also force myself to dive into the research and be passionate about the research. I'm already passionate about the research to a degree, but if I'm doing it and I'm waist deep in the process, of course, I'm gonna dive into the research even more. And that allows me to create amazing content. But I'm inviting you to do it with me as always. I had over 70,000 people do the bone broth fast. I had over 80,000 people do the vegan keto challenge with me. And now I'm hoping to have a lot of people try the carnivore challenge simply because we need to see what works for us. Now, at first glance, the carnivore challenge sounds crazy. Carnivore diet sounds kind of crazy. It seems really shallow. When you look at it through the wrong lens, you realize that it's just like you're just eating meat. What's the point? The reality is, from the medical side of things, there's a pretty powerful immunological response that's going on. Now, my wife suffered from Hashimoto, she suffered from Lyme disease, so I'm very familiar with autoimmune conditions and what we used to have to do with her to bring her body back down to a baseline of anti-inflammatory foods. Really, a lot of foods are inflammatory when you break them down. A lot of people have intolerances to nuts, they have intolerances to certain veggies, they have intolerances to nightshades. They have intolerances to egg proteins, to dairies, and we never know what we are sensitive to until we remove them from the diet and then reintroduce them. So the premise of the carnivore diet is to bring your body back down to such a baseline that you actually have very low levels of inflammation and your body feels quite good. Now, I can't speak to that personally, but I'm gonna try it out because honestly, I need to figure it out. And that whole response of bringing your body back down to baseline is very intriguing to me because what I think is going to happen is at the end of 2 weeks, when I start reintroducing foods, I'm gonna find which foods I was really sensitive to. For example, I'm gonna pull out all of the foods and go right back to meat and fattier cuts of meat, et cetera, et cetera. When I reintroduce almonds, for instance, I might find that I feel terrible, showing me that maybe I had an intolerance to almonds all along. So this is really interesting to me. Now, some people go on carnivore and they feel like they just need to do it for the rest of their lives because they feel so good. So clearly there's some merit to it. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or ugly. Just like I wasn't saying vegan keto was good, bad, or ugly. So please don't hate on me for this. I'm doing this for you guys, but I'm also doing it so that we could do this as a challenge. So I want to see who's in with me. I'm starting on May 13th. Okay, now on May 13th, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post a video and it's going to break down a suggested meal plan. It's going to break down how long we're going to do this. It's going to break down a few things. Basically, I'm going to tell you what I think you should eat and what I think you should do. Now, ordinarily, I'm not a big fan of having fattier cuts of meat. Okay, normally, I feel like fattier cuts of meat have high omega-6 profiles, which is going to cause a lot of inflammation in our body, et cetera, et cetera. But in this case, in order to get our fats in, we're going to need to eat fattier cuts of meat. So I've accepted that. But that's also why I'm making sure that I'm getting good quality, high omega-3 grass-fed, grass-finished meats whenever I possibly can. And what's really, really cool is just so that you guys know, I reached out to ButcherBox when I told them that I was doing this, and I asked if they would sponsor the event by providing me with the meat that I was going to need for it. And they generously offered to create special discounts for my fans that are doing the carnivore challenge along with me. So that means that literally, if you want to get your meat and get your beef and chicken and everything cheaper than what you would get at the grocery store for this challenge, there's a link down in the description below that's going to let you get it at a discount, but also get it delivered directly to your doorstep so you don't even have to go to the grocery store. And that way you can add on however much you need for this carnivore challenge. Now, even if you don't use ButcherBox, obviously you are absolutely welcome to do this with me. I just recommend that you get grass-fed, grass-finished meat that you're going to find probably at more of a health food store or a Whole Foods or Sprouts or something like that. So just be very aware of what you're eating. We don't want our omega-3 profiles to get out of whack. So I'm going to be learning through this process too. For the most part, it means that we're not going to have any veggies, we're not going to have any nuts, anything like that. I may allow a little bit of coconut oil just to get some added fats depending on how I feel. Anyway, I digress. The point is, are you in this or are you out of this? Because go ahead and comment down below and let me know if you're down to join me on the Carnivore Challenge starting May 13th for 2 weeks. One thing I will say, and I talked to Dr. Sean Baker, who's kind of the founder and the godfather of the carnivore diet. I chatted with him. He recommended that you slowly start getting fiber out of the diet leading up to it. So I recommend a couple weeks before, as soon as you can, start slowly reducing fiber. That way you don't have a negative response when you go very low or no fiber on this carnivore diet. So I'm gonna start weaning myself off now just so that I don't have an issue. Last thing I wanna have is digestive issues. So anyhow, that's it. If you're in this, let me know. If you're not, you're good to watch and enjoy exactly what I learned. And just so that you do know, there will be regularly scheduled programming still going on during the challenge. It's not gonna just take over for 2 weeks. All right, as always, keep it locked in here on my channel. I'll see you in the next video, and get your meat down below in the description. See you soon.